Are you ready to get your feet wet? Because this is the Knowledge Pool, hosted by Gathering Information. We're here to bring you a casual conversation between friends about everything to do with collecting, trading, and playing Magic the Gathering.
I am Tams.
I am Step.
And I am Laura.
So put on your bathing suits and dive right into the Knowledge Pool.
Hey everyone,
Hello.
Welcome to the Knowledge Pool.
That was very well done. I
Thank
put you on
you.
the spot, and you
I'm
you
an actor.
rolled right with it.
I'm used to ad-libbing. Thank
Good
you
for
very
you.
much. It is episode 15.
It is episode 15.
You think you're so smug. So, I am Tams, and to my right is...
Step?
And over here is...
Laura.
And we're here to talk some magic.
Yes.
At
Lots
your
of magic.
faces.
All the magic.
All of the magics. I know why you let me start off. Because I don't have very much to contribute to this episode because I was sick last week.
No?
I see.
Well, not
He's
just
being
sick,
nice.
like deathly ill.
It
Yeah,
was so
like-
true.
The Deathly Hallows Deathly Ill.
It was terrible. Don't ever. I wish this on no one. No one at all. So, yeah. It
So,
was
yes,
terrible.
Tams did not get too much playing in last week.
No, not really.
But we have news to start off with.
News! I like news. Tell me some
What's
news.
new in the world, Laura?
Well, Step, there have been more spoilers. These ones were also not done on purpose, but at least they were done by wizards.
Yeah. So, less, as I said before, like less malicious theft and more windfall.
Or, well,
I guess.
incompetence. Yeah, basically, I think the French Magic card database online, hosted by wizards, included 3 new cards from Hour of Devestation that haven't been announced yet, because nothing's been announced yet.
Right.
And Wizards has said, yes, these are in fact real cards for the next upcoming set.
Oopsie.
Oops.
Yeah, because they don't actually say anything about leaks either way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just never acknowledge leaks, which I think is, from a business perspective, the smartest thing they
yeah.
could possibly do.
But, again, this wasn't really a leak. This
Yeah.
is just a whoops.
Yeah.
But the thing is that these are 3 of what would probably be the headlining spoilers.
I was
spoiler
going to
season.
say, of all the cards to
Yeah.
Oopsie, these are pretty big ones.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they absolutely are. Nicole Bolas is among them.
Yeah.
Yes,
that
and-
one to me was...
So is a new Planeswalker,
And a brand new shiny Planeswalker, who
And-
honestly looks not great.
a 3-mana board wipe, because apparently that's the board wipe we deserve these days.
Yeah, well,
It's something.
it'll do its job for sure. But they are not what I am most interested in, so I didn't really care. Like, I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, those will be fun to get in a draft sometime.
Never.
But until I see some commons, I don't really care.
Sure. And I kind of had the same approach. I don't really care, but that's more because, as I said last week, I'm definitely the kind who enjoys the anticipation.
Yeah.
So I'm just purposely not dwelling on them too much.
There were no new mechanics on them. Like,
That's
there were no
true.
named mechanics.
Yep.
So
So that's good anyway.
that
For
leaves
them.
me less
Yeah.
less interested.
Yeah.
Like, sure, they're powerful cards. We knew powerful cards were going to happen.
They're Planeswalkers. We knew those would happen.
Yeah. Although the board wipe does have a hint at a possible mechanical tie to Amonkhet,
Yeah.
because it's almost like it exerts your land.
Yes. You
Um,
get a powerful effect for less mana, but your lands don't untap on your next upkeep.
which I think is really cool. Like, it seemed
Mm-hmm.
like not foreshadow. What's the thing I'm looking for? Where you have to the pacts.
Oh,
where you have to
yeah.
pay for them the turn after you cast them.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see what else they do with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's all I really care to say about the spoilers.
If
What do
you want to know more, go look online. They happened pretty much a week ago, so they've pretty much been talked to death already.
Yeah.
So next up, in not really surprising news, but very updating news, there has been an official announcement that there is going to be a Magic the Gathering computer game. Probably an MMORPG, because it's done by the same guys who did Neverwinter Nights, or Neverwinter the MMO,
Yeah.
and City of Heroes, and that
Okay.
kind of thing.
And Star Trek Online.
And Star Trek Online.
Which
So-
makes me
a little excited.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd have absolutely nothing to say this podcast, but oh my gosh. Okay,
Tams,
so
Tams and I both have experience with MMOs. Step does, but not nearly as much.
Yeah, they're not my cup of tea.
And Tams is currently the active MMOer.
yeah, I'm a old school EverQuest World of Warcraft player. I still am, and I love me some MMORPGs. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be the case because I've played some Neverwinter. It's not bad for a free-to-play game. It's quite fun. Mm-hmm. And yeah, from what you've said, the Star Trek game was very good.
It has certainly improved on patches, and now it's considered to be quite good for free-to-play.
Yeah. So given that experience that the devs would have had...
And I can vouch for City of Heroes / City Villains, because that was one of my RPGs.
Okay, so that makes me very... hopefully optimistic at this being something that could be really fun and finally give Step and I an MMO that we can play together.
Yeah, assuming it's not terribly subscription based, like $10 a month, maybe I could swing. But that's my big problem with MMOs is if they are free to play, I'm much more likely to play them.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also much more likely to spend money on them with extra doodahs or whatever. But what I'm really excited about is because I haven't actually played Star Trek Online, but I was talked to about it a lot. And the one thing that kept beating through was that the story is really good.
Yeah.
That they're really good at making the community a part of the ongoing story. And that is what appeals to me a great deal.
Yeah,
about
that
a
sounds like it
possible
could be.
Magic MMO.
And to be honest, I would be very surprised if there wasn't a free-to-play tier involved in some way, because most games now, even Warcraft, has its free-to-play tier. Not only does it have its play to 20, try me out, you can play as many characters as you want, only to 20, and there are definite restrictions on it, but now they even have it so that if you do buy a month and you get your characters up high enough, you can work towards playing and paying in-game gold for your monthly subscription. So, there are free-to-play seems to be the wave.
Yeah, I mean, if World of Warcraft can't subscribe solely on a subscription basis, neither can your new MMO.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So,
and like has already been stated, I'm not an MMO guy, but I will take any opportunity to play a Planeswalker ever.
Yeah.
I played basically all of the Magic games that have been released. Some of them were better than others. The gem game, I think, is probably no, I can't say it's the worst. The one that came out in like 95 was probably the worst, but that was a technology issue.
Yes. So I'm hoping they'll handle it well. My concern is just that I feel like the mechanics of specifically, planeswalking in the sense of the Magic card planeswalkers with their +1, +2s, -1s, -2s, that sort of thing. I feel like it would be kind of hard to, just move over in an organic fashion.
Well, you're not going to have those.
No, for sure. My concern is just that if you take away, kind of that feel of it, do we just end up with generic fantasy MMO number 512?
Well,
That's a good question.
My assumption is that I would guess we're going to be looking at obviously a multi-zone verse of some sort. And you're probably going to start off as one of, an Edificer mage or whatever.
So
and you
start
work
your home plane?
And you work towards igniting your Planeswalker Spark at, a certain level, and then you can raid against, the Eldrazi. That would be my guess at how they're going to kind of approach it.
I think it's much more likely that they'll have you start off and you have just ignited your Spark and you have planeswalked for the first time. Where do you land?
Maybe. So it seems like a very high level to be starting at,
Or they could also have, you have just ignited your Spark. Here's the tutorial level. Oh, look, you've ended up on a plane. Who knows what it is?
Chandelar.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's interest to be had in playing a video game set just on Innistrad or something where you're not a planeswalker. But for an MMO, which we're assuming this is going to be...
It has not been, I don't believe, officially confirmed that it's an MMO, but given the developers,
it's going to be a planeswalking game. That's just... Yeah. That's the only reasonable place to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, so who here will try it?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I will be standing in line to pick it up. Because,
I hope you don't have to pick one color of Magic to start off with. But
it'll
that
be
also
really
is
interesting
reasonable.
To see how they transfer the feel of the color pie.
Yeah.
If they in fact do so.
Yeah, they may not even do so. Who knows?
But it's such a huge part of Magic.
Yeah.
I'm far more excited about this than about the potential Magic movie, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Of course, that's been hanging in,
limbo for years.
The nether forever. So
yeah, but and also, what are the odds that it's going to be any good?
It can't be.
No.
It just... Even if it's a decent film, it can't be... I have to cut that. It can't be a good Magic movie. It doesn't translate well. You know what would translate... I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast.
No.
You know what would translate Magic well? A TV series.
Like an animated one?
Maybe, but not necessarily. I'm thinking more like an episodic show that doesn't touch planeswalkers at all, but one episode you are an inspector in Thraben and looking for some random criminal in Innistrad. And then the next you're in a cavern on Zendikar following sort of an Outer Limits-y kind of show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where they just tell mini stories from the Magic multiverse that are completely disconnected.
Yeah.
I would watch that. Anyway, is there anything else to say about the Magic online?
I don't think so.
Game?
But we do have more news.
Yes, and this is about actual Magic Online, MTGO.
Ooh.
This is exciting.
So it is having its 15th year anniversary coming up shortly. So in honor of that, they have some special events coming up during the week of June the 14th to June the 21st. So next week, basically, for us. So they're going to be having a couple of things. First of all, they are going to be having bonus prizes.
Sweet.
So if you do well in a constructed or a limited league, you might get a pack or two that you weren't expecting, or for constructed, a treasure chest.
Everybody loves presents.
Yeah, so it's just, free prizes, basically.
Sweet.
But the exciting part is that they are also doing special leagues.
Oh, so good.
I am going to jump into one of every one of these, I think.
Yeah, so basically there's going to be, I think, 5 different sets. So there's one for 5 different distinct planes of Magic, so like Dominaria, and you've got Mirrodin, and Innistrad, and Zendikar, and I don't remember what the 5th one is. And basically you're getting 6 boosters. It's a sealed league. Ravnica was it, yeah. Of
course.
So it's 6 boosters in a sealed pool, and the boosters are all going to be from different sets, or there might be duplicates. For example, the Mirrodin one is going to be one of each of the 6 Mirrodin blocks.
Yeah, but Innistrad is, I think, 2 Innistrad, 1 Dark Ascension, 2 Shadows, 1 Eldritch Moon?
Something like that, just because they moved to the 2-block set for both Innistrad and Battle, so they had to make it up with an extra pack from one of the other sets.
Right.
So it seems really sweet.
Yeah, I have actually been planning something like this for a long time. I have a box full of boosters going all the way back to they completely skipped over Alara. Alara
yes,
isn't in the... No,
that's true.
Sad. But I have like Alara block stuff that I want to do a block sealed at some point, but I doubt that's going to happen because Worldwake boosters are like $20 a piece.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm definitely going to draft it on or get the sealed online though, because that's going to be awesome.
So from what I understand, it's going to be 3 different matches. And, of course, there are going to be prizes, depending on how well you do in them.
And they're phantom, so you don't get to keep the cards, but...
That's okay. Well, I still...
Yeah.
We're going to seal the snot out of that.
Yeah, starting, I think, with Ravnica.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, that's super exciting. And then, once the leagues finish up, after June 21st, they are bringing the Vintage Cube back, which I'd be more excited about if it wasn't for leagues.
Yeah.
That's too bad because Cube we'll probably end up doing one anyway, but
probably
it's super fun. But yeah, I hate when you run into that issue.
Mirror match.
Where, you draft and you think, okay, well, I'm the only one in Storm. And guess what? No, you're not. So is everybody else.
Yeah. Half the fun for me of a cube is the added strategy of knowing what cards are in the pool and which cards you have so your opponents don't.
Yeah, that especially. Knowing that you're the only one who has Entomb or Disentomb.
Yes.
You know?
Or Mana Leak or...
If I go and throw something in my bin with a Disentomb in hand and my opponent disentombs it, I'm going to rage quit.
It is the worst feeling in the world.
That should not happen in a cube.
Yeah, it's different if it were just a regular draft, but the entire point of cube is singleton, which we've already ranted about.
Yeah. Yep,
so
that's true.
If Cube Online is your thing, it's coming up, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we're on to our updates.
We are.
Well, why don't we start... I realize it's there, but I did want to start by mentioning that this week, our league, we had this awesome thing, which was Makeup Week, which...
Yeah, it's a new idea. Mm-hmm. But we came up with it as one of the ways to tackle people dropping out around week 3 or week 4.
Yeah, when week 3 tends to be the week that people look at their 2 weeks that they've missed and decide, screw it, there's no way I'm catching up.
Yeah.
And then drop out of the league.
Or they look at it and go, screw it, my deck's not good enough to get me to top 8. I'm going to drop out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's really sad because it's not really supposed to be about winning. It's supposed to be about getting to play a lot of this fun format.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the Makeup Week, I think, has fixed that. Everyone got caught up last night.
Yes.
Here's the awesome thing for me. Last week I was sick. Now, we did go in on the Tuesday and I was fine, but we only managed to get 3 matches in. Uh-huh. So I was supposed to go in Friday and finish up the week, and that was when I was definitely ill. So for me to be able to go in this week and not have to worry about falling further behind, having to catch up all this other stuff as well, it was great.
Yeah.
And it was so nice to see other people showing up who, I'm already caught up. I'm just helping out.
Almost.
I think everyone showed,
except for a couple of people were actually out of town, so they were happy they didn't have to come in this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, everyone at least came by to make sure there were enough people for everybody to get caught up.
Which was really great. I like that.
Yeah. And for those of us who were caught up, it was a chance to try that kooky random deck in our league pool that we weren't sure is going to work. Because it doesn't count anyway.
I didn't actually get around to doing that. I had planned on trying a blue-white deck, so I have a bunch of amazing white rares that I'm just not running in my black-green counters deck.
Mm-hmm. You know, I wanted to, and then I caught a little bit of what Tams had. Thankfully, I didn't catch it as bad, so I'm here alive today.
Yes.
But it was bad enough that I couldn't focus on building the deck. And I'm really sad about that because I kind of think there's a better deck in my pool somewhere that I want to go and find, but I haven't had a chance to build it.
If only there were other people that you knew who had league decks who would fight against you.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking. If somebody or other is available at some point this week, maybe we can schedule some league fun.
Maybe.
All right.
So I think the combination, not just of the Makeup Week, but now that we have the consolation bracket tournament, where if you come in at the top of that, there are prizes. So I was speaking with one of the people in our league who's like right on the cusp of top 8, and he was, well, at least I'm not worried because I know if I don't get in, I'll be right at the top of the consolation bracket.
Yeah.
Which means ours has a proper tournament structure for the final tournament where you don't roll to determine who goes first. Whoever is the highest seed gets to choose.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of an advantage if you go in number 9 or number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
the prizes are worse for the consolation bracket, obviously.
Yes.
But
it's still something.
But it's still fun.
Something, yeah.
And it's still a tournament. It's still a reason to come by that final Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes it less about the prizes anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we're going to war for the top 8. Well,
Yeah.
now we're no longer warring for the top 8. It's more like, let's play some Magic.
I want to see how high I can get
Yeah.
with my terrible deck that has no rares. And
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, did we end up doing anything exciting? I know I got a bunch of trades in with somebody sitting directly next to me.
yeah, I traded Laura for... This is my first trade of the league because I'm a terrible trader. I mean to post. When I started this league, I'm like, okay, so I know I need cycling cards, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make a list of all the cards, the actual cards that I want. And I'm going to post them. And I'm going to put a list of all the awesome... Because I have a ton of really good stuff I have to trade. And then I'm going to trade, and it's going to be great. And then I didn't do it.
Of course not.
Because I had too much other stuff, and then I forgot.
Yeah.
So
I haven't traded yet for the second, third.
Yes.
Because I'm not sure which direction I want to go. So.
Yeah. And the sad thing is for me is I just traded 2 great cards, which I think will make the deck better. But I'm also thinking about looking at going a completely different route now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to sit down. I think the 3 of us should get together later this week and just try some
Well,
stuff
I think
out.
it would be fun if each of us just took another person's pool and just built what we thought was
You know
the
what?
best
That
deck.
sounds like a
Actually,
lot of
that's pretty
fun.
cool.
Like, just
Yeah.
completely fresh eyes.
Yeah, I think that's a great
Are you
idea.
coming to F&M on Friday?
Not currently.
Okay.
I was leaving. I have a regular volunteering thing. I wasn't sure
Okay.
when we were meeting this week, so
We'll talk.
Good stuff.
we'll talk. We'll find something to do. I had fun in the games that I had. If you were there, I was just waiting around to see if anyone did end up needing matches. Nobody did against me to catch up, but still I ended up having a couple of for fun games, which was really helpful because I had just adjusted my deck prior to trades, but after last week's pack, which gave me several new cards that I wanted to see if I was making the right substitutions for. And then after I made my trade with Tams, I got in a couple more fun matches to see if, again, I was making the right removals from my deck. So it was certainly helpful for that as well.
Well, it certainly looked sweet when you had it right out there.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. Funny story that I didn't actually think to mention last week.
Okay.
So I have the green-black deck.
Uh-huh.
So I kept a 2-lander with a Naga Vitalist on the draw. My opponent's playing very aggressive black-red, but I've beat him every time I've played him. So he's on the play. He goes land. I go land. He goes land. I go land, Naga Vitalist. He goes land, creature.
Uh-huh.
I do not draw my 3rd land.
Oh.
But at least I have a Naga Vitalist out.
Sure.
However, all I have in my hand are cartouches. Because I had 2 of them on the top of my deck, and I had 2 of them in my opening hand.
Oh.
So I go, well, at least
It's
I
so
can
good.
put it on this Naga Vitalist and kill your creature here.
Uh-huh.
So I do that. So I now have a 2/3 Naga Vitalist, which is tapped because I need it for the 3rd mana for the green cartouche. He goes, fine. So he plays another land, because he has lots of land in his hand. He's basically just flooding out. I'll play another creature. I go, okay, I will draw a 6-drop, which I can't play. So I'll put another green cartouche on my Naga Vitalist and kill your 2nd creature. Okay. So he's like, fine. Plays another land, because of course he still has many. Plays another creature. And then I put the 3rd green cartouche on my Naga Vitalist. Still not having drawn my 3rd land.
So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at this point.
With triple trample, I like to call it.
The triple trample.
So then he goes, ugh. So he plays another thing. And then I finally draw my 3rd land. So I get to put the black cartouche on my Naga Vitalist. And attack.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He actually didn't draw another creature for my black cartouche. So I just put it on there, choosing not to put the counter on anything.
Sure.
So, because I had nothing else I could do with my mana.
So you have a 5/6 lifelink triple trample
And
Naga.
It won me the game. I did not play another spell, but neither did he, because he just kept drawing lands.
What is this, Theros?
That is ridiculous.
It's just this little Naga Vitalist with 4 different cartouches on it, which are all the cartouches I'm running in the deck. It was glorious.
That's some
you
pants.
You should have taken a picture.
It was very funny. Tams was spectating.
I was watching and I was giggling. Like, look at all the
My
pants.
opponent was a very good. He was a very good sport.
He was
about
a very
it.
good. He's such a sweetie. Yeah, he was a very good sport.
Yeah, he was like, well, these lands sure didn't help me, because at this point he was on land drop like number 9, because it was going quite long. Because it takes 4 turns for a 5/6 Naga Vitalist to kill anybody.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Wow.
I don't have quite the excitement. I made a really big mistake at my one round that I played last night. Yeah. I had my makeup round, and so here was the big mistake that I made. I said, "Hey, Laura, no, sorry, I don't really want to play you."
You did say exactly that.
So instead I played Evan,
who is currently in second place in the league,
really?
right behind me.
You chose to play Evan?
His deck is very disgusting
Evan,
to play
I
against.
know you're listening. You suck.
Here's the thing. My history, if we looked at the win percentage
Your
between
win rate against Evan,
it's pretty. We're pretty close.
Yeah,
because
not with that
he
deck.
will play crazy decks, and I will oftentimes just by luck have something to kind of get around it.
Sure. So you thought it would be a fun, pleasant, engaging, interactive.
I had no idea what his deck. I knew after I sat down. I was like, wait a minute. Don't I remember hearing something about? Oh my gosh, why did you trade him that thing? And then I sat down and I played his deck, and he's running 2 Cat Lords and 2 Viziers of Many Faces, and those faces are all cats.
That's true.
Yeah.
And every time, I almost got him dead. And I'm like, haha, Ifnir is going to kill you now. And he's like, cast out. I'm like, really? He's like, yup. Like, I hate you so much. No. I want to take you out back, hate you right now. I want to hit you.
He's running...
it's disgusting.
The Sacred Cat as a 3/3 lifelink, beater.
You mean a 4/4 unblockable lifelink once he's embalmed it, because he has a Temet.
Yes. Oh, that's right. He also has a Temet.
Yes. So that was
Wander in Death in case you managed to kill both of his cat lords.
Yeah. So that was my big mistake, and I have thus learned from it.
Yeah.
I could have told you that. Evan and I are currently fighting for first place, which I'm very happy about, and I hope continues until the finals, because then I won't have to fight him until the final bracket.
That's
there
true.
You go.
Yep.
Let other people try to knock him out first.
That is my plan.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
So how about you for League?
I didn't get as many matches in last night as I would have liked. I only got 1 against Garrett, and...
all I heard from that side of the table was, and now we'll play Aronis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't have counter mana for the Ronus. That's about how my night went.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be rebuilding my deck because I don't know, it's good, but apparently not good enough. Like that's what you were saying, Laura, about your deck. You were worried that it was good, but it was going to be outclassed by the really synergistic decks.
Yeah, I felt that my deck wasn't improving as much as the others were improving,
Right.
so while I might have started ahead, I was going to slowly get behind.
And I've also just been having variance issues, so I don't know what's actually good in my deck. Because from looking at it, it looks like it's solid.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just have consistent issues with, consistency. So I'm going to figure that out and hopefully have a better report for next week.
Yeah, so I think one thing that we could do if we do in fact just all get together, just take a picture of our decks to make sure we remember what's in them, de-sleeve everything, do a little around the table, everyone gets a new deck, or a new sealed pool, everyone builds the deck or the 2 decks that they think are best out of that pool, takes a picture, messes it all up again, and then do it again.
I think that sounds really fun.
That sounds real good.
I mean, first of all, it's just a fun exercise because I love building decks out of sealed pools.
Absolutely.
I know you guys do.
Mm-hmm. And we'll do them we'll post them on the
website. Blog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So people can see.
Yeah, and that way
it'll really show the different ways we build things.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Nifty.
We should try to find, different corners of the room to do it in, too. So we're not
that's the plan.
Cross-challenging.
Well, we've got a table and 2 desks, so we're good.
That's good.
All right, so shall we move along to...
Yes, to Friday night.
Yes.
Yes.
I wasn't there, you're on your own.
You were there.
I went to Friday night.
You did.
I did. I finally drafted zombies, and unfortunately, the guy across the table from me, so in the right seat, because we weren't cutting each other, drafted better zombies.
Oh, dear.
It was the luck of getting Liliana's Mastery, which I did not get.
That's a very good card.
Yes.
Very good in the zombie deck.
Yeah. It was... And we played each other in round 1, so it was a mirror match.
Right.
So...
it's always interesting when that happens in draft.
Yeah. He got Liliana's Mastery both games, and that was enough.
Yeah.
It might have gone to 3 games, actually, because I think he just flooded in the second game, and my deck did what it was supposed to, being an aggressive deck.
Yeah.
I did have 2 Trials of Solidarity and 2 in Oketra's name, so I should have been able to get there, Final record for that draft was 1, 1, and 1, so exactly mediocre.
Very symmetrical.
Very. It was fun. I would definitely try drafting the deck again if it's open. But I also had trouble with people cutting black, even though they didn't intend to play black. And that kind of stifled me.
Sure.
I really could have used any cartouche and didn't get them.
Right.
So,
I was also at Friday draft.
Were you in the same pool?
I was not in the same pod.
So
we were in different pods. Mine had a couple of newer players, both to the shop and just to drafting in general, which made the signals a bit interesting to pick up on, especially early on in the draft, as always happens when you're drafting with new players, especially because I had 2 of them directly to my right, so they were passing to me for packs 1 and 3. And it just took them a bit longer than it would a more experienced drafter to figure what it was they wanted to do.
I got past 2, murderous cuts in a draft that there were new players at. I was like,
what?
Somebody doesn't know how to draft.
That is so true.
I had a lot of fun that night.
I had the same kind of thing happen. I got a super late cast out, 6th pick. Not only is it a great uncommon, it's worth $5.
Is it?
Well, they're pretty rare.
Really?
I mean, they're the chase uncommon of the set, basically. So, last I looked, that's how much they were going for Canadian. So anyways, I ended up with a quite solid little red-white...
Beatdown?
Yeah, it was aggro. I've done a draft report, which will be going up on the blog at some point shortly, so you can get some pictures of exactly what was in my pool. I will say, I only had 1 rare, which was the Heartpiercer Manticore, which did not do any particularly serious work for me, just because I never needed it to. I either drew it in a situation where it didn't win me the game, but...
Sure, that one might have gone up Monday. The draft report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I just didn't see it. I only drew it in 2 different games, I think. But my deck also did not have any anthems. No Trial of Solidarities, none of the red ones, nothing like that.
That's a shame.
Well, it didn't really need them. I kind of got there on brute strength, of which I was running 2.
All right, fair enough.
So, yeah, the deck, spoiler alert, I ended up doing quite well in the draft. And, again, it was almost all commons and uncommons. They were just... It was a low curve. It mulliganed well, which was good because I mulliganed several times. And the white cartouche is very good on a Minotaur Sure Shot. Yeah.
Yes.
First Strike and the ability to Fire Breathe is very good.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah. Makes blocking almost impossible for your opponent if you have enough mana up. Which is great when you're flooding out, which I did once.
Yeah.
So that was my draft. Again, went very well. I had a lot of fun with it, which is good because I'm kind of hit or miss on the particularly Boros, just because lingering bad taste in my mouth from playing it so much in the League for Oath.
Sure.
And Friday night, I lay in bed sick, but I did have the Friday night loading ready run playlist playing, so it was almost like I was involved in Magic.
Do you feel like you learned anything?
Yeah, a lot of what not to do.
Seems good.
Yeah. All right, so move on to the last kind of updatey kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, we talked last week about getting new players into Magic and had the great example of actually having recently taught some new people to play Magic. And, oh, is that cat breath?
Oh, Salem.
Meow. So, the decks that they've been playing with, the
monocolored ones?
The sweet monocolored decks,
Uh-huh.
I decided to bring them boosters, in quotes.
Yeah.
In that I thought a few cards from Born of the Gods, because they were all just straight Theros.
Yeah.
So I chose 5 in each color.
Are there different mechanics that they wouldn't know yet?
A little bit. I made sure to get Tribute in there. So in red and green, I've got Farragax Giant and Snake of the Golden Grove to get some Tribute.
Uh-huh.
Green and Aspect of Hydra. Also, a Swordwise Centaur is just a 3/2 for green.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a devotion theme in green, you know, with the gain life for your devotion.
Yep.
Also, Fall of the Hammer in red, which is a one-sided fight, which is an interesting mechanic, I thought.
Yeah.
And Portent of Betrayal, because they hadn't dealt with any active treason style cards, so I thought that would be an interesting little snag.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if either of them are particularly mean.
Yeah.
And there's one of each too. Like, they had been just splitting up the 2-ofs and playing with those when they played with multicolored decks, but since I brought them one of each of these cards, now they're going to have to try to deck build a little bit.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
They even mentioned they might draft these into their decks, and I thought, we've got you on the draft train.
Yeah.
With black, there was the Servant of Timuret, so there's the inspired mechanic there.
Oh yeah, the untapping.
Weight of the Underworld, which is not great, but it's interesting. It's like you have to do a little math.
Yeah, it's solid, and it does interact interestingly with combat.
Necrobite for a good combat trick. And Marsh Mist Titan, because there is that black devotion. Mm-hmm. So it becomes cheaper the more black you have. In blue, Deepwater Hypnotist is not a good card, but it's could be useful, you know?
Well, plus, some cards are just not good cards.
Yeah. Stratus Walk, Divination, Sudden Storm, and Floodtide Serpent. Mm-hmm. Floodtide Serpent and Stratus Walk are sort of a combo, I guess, in that, like, it's an enchantment and a cheap one, so you can have Floodtide Serpent attack for 2 mana rather than, you know, having to recast something big. Mm-hmm. Or if they figure out to be able to re-bestow to trigger Heroic, you know, all that interesting shenanigans. Mm-hmm. And then in white, I had Nyxborn Shieldmate, Loyal Pegasus, one of, Oresco Sun Guide, Hold at Bay, which is just basically a fog. It's prevent 7 damage.
Okay.
And Excoriate, which is exile target tapped creature.
Right. Because
the removal in the white deck was a little lower quality than the other decks, I thought.
Well, I think it'll be interesting because I know one of them played with Loyal Pegasus with the cube and would constantly get it out on turn 1 and then not be able to do anything with it. Because it cannot attack or block by itself.
No. It's very good if you have an aggressive start, but not good.
Or if you have multiples of it.
Or if you have multiples of it. Now, I only gave them one of each, but it's 5-card boosters in each color, so I think I missed a few in... So I'll just go through them. Nyxborn Shieldmate, Loyal Pegasus, Oresco Sun Guide, Hold at Bay, and Excoriate in white. Deepwater Hypnotist, Stratus Walk, Divination, Sudden Storm, and Floodtide Serpent in blue. Claim of Erebos, Necrobite, Servant of Timuret, Weight of the Underworld, and Marsh Mist Titan in black. Epiphany Storm, Fall of the Hammer, Kragma Butcher, Portent of Betrayal, and Faragax Giant in red, and Aspect of Hydra, Swordwise Centaur, Culling Mark, Nyxborn Wolf, and Snake of the Golden Grove in green. Mm-hmm. So there's varying quality of cards there. They do interesting things. They're, I believe, all commons. There might be one uncommon apiece. No, I think they're all commons. But just a few interesting things to add to those decks.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard what they've done with them yet, but I'm going to be asking next time I talk to them.
Yep. So seems like an interesting way to keep them engaged.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'll be an ongoing saga of I may be able to get them out to an Amonkhet draft at some point. Who knows?
Maybe the pre-release?
Yeah, the Hour of Devestation pre-release.
As we mentioned during our love ode to the pre-release for Amonkhet, we love pre-releases, and it's a great way to introduce new players.
Uh-huh. Yep, absolutely.
All right, so shall we move on to the topic? Topic
bracket Z.
All right.
For the evening. So we wanted to talk a little bit to start with.
Moving on in 40 minutes in.
That's what we do here.
Okay.
Give me a break. So we wanted to talk about rare drafting. So to start, the questions we want to ask is, when do you rare draft? And also, when would you not ever rare draft?
Sure.
So,
okay.
And by rare draft, we mean what?
Take a rare that you probably won't play, or that you plan on not playing, over a common or uncommon card that you would actually put in your deck.
Okay.
I think we can all agree on that as a definition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a pretty good definition. And right off the bat, let's state the most obvious: money. I mean, money cards are...
Sure. So what is your threshold at just your F&M level?
Honestly, at F&M, it's funny, because $10, unless it's a land, in which case it has to be an expensive land. Yeah. Like, I will ship a dual land if it's, $10 and I want to play with something. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I do that exactly, but...
So what about you, Tams? What would be your money threshold?
$10 usually.
Yeah?
So you don't take the $5?
No. Very seldom. Because it says $5, you have to factor in whether or not you're going to actually get $5 for it anyway. And so $10 is usually a decent enough. It could be, 8 to 10 in there that you get for it. I generally ask, and I think this is probably a good thing to do, either check your phone or ahead of time speak to your shop owner to find out, what they are and aren't
or
taking.
If you're in our shop, you hold it up, go, "Hey, Sean, how much is this?"
Yeah.
And do you want it?
Like, oh, it's not worth anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not super strict at our shop.
No. So that $10. What about you?
So for me, it's kind of complicated.
Okay.
I think of the three of us, the most likely to rare draft.
Okay.
I do so pretty casually.
Okay, but we're talking about money first.
So for money, it depends. At the F&M level, it depends on how confident I am in my deck currently. So I'm much more likely to rare draft in pack 3 than I would be in pack 1.
That's fair.
So, for example, I was drafting on Friday. Mm-hmm. Pack 3 comes around, and I get past 2 rares. They're each worth a few dollars. One of them I think was worth maybe $5, just because it's seeing a fair amount of play in other formats.
Okay.
And I took both of them over playables that I absolutely would have played. I actually took both of them over Magma Sprays, because it was Magma Spray in each of those packs, and I was in red-white.
That's probably the wrong choice.
Because I was confident about the quality of my deck already.
Okay, that's fair.
I already had removal. I already was confident. This might be a bit of hubris. I don't have trouble going 2-1 with a decent deck at our F&Ms. I on average will go 2 or 1 or better.
Okay.
So again, it might just be a bit of maybe overconfidence, but just based on how I felt about the draft already, I felt that I would rather take the rare. Even though they weren't even at the $10 mark, and they might not even have been at the $5 mark. But I did specifically take them for money because I didn't want to have to buy them.
Okay, so you might use them in another place too?
Exactly, and I would have had to buy them because I haven't opened it yet.
For me, I'm never that confident about my deck, ever. There's never too much removal for me. I will always take the playable card over the rare if I'm not going to play it. Absolutely, every time. I don't play enough constructed to even factor in I might want this for a deck. The only time I do is if he is specifically already building a deck and he's like Angel of Sanction. So if I open that up, Pack 2, I will probably take it anyway.
You should be taking it anyway.
And Pack 2 is early enough that didn't you end up playing it?
No. It was Pack 3 and it was nowhere near where I was.
Okay.
So it was not being played. But no, when I draft, I'm drafting for the deck that I am going to be playing.
Right.
First and foremost and always.
I guess you said earlier that you're much more likely to rare draft in Pack 3, but like in
I also
Pack 2,
don't necessarily consider it to be rare drafting if it's in Pack 1. Because you still could just end up playing it.
Yeah.
Right.
You're rarely so set in your colors.
And that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Even in Pack 2, like, isn't it more likely that if it's a valuable card, it's powerful enough to change your direction anyway?
A lot of times, absolutely.
So,
like, if you open a Glorybringer Pack 3 and you're not in red, you're probably going to end up in red.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe.
Because it's just probably worth it.
Or you're just going to take it anyway, and that's fair.
I passed the Glorybringer.
That was early in the format, though. Would you pass the Glorybringer now? Same situation.
How much is it worth?
It's gone down now. Foil is worth 13 Canadian.
Pack 3, I'm not anywhere near red. Yeah, I'd pass it. Because I'm not going to play it. Why would I keep it? And so I would assume that I have built my deck in such a way that if I pass it to, say, you, and we, 1, you take it, 2, you put it in your deck, we see each other, you actually draw it, I'm going to assume that I've built my deck in such a way that I'm going to have something to deal with it. So I'm not going to take it over something that I could actually use.
So it can be stated that I am bad with money.
Yes, you pass very expensive cards.
I do, and I probably shouldn't. Like, I pass those lands if I already have some of those lands. I have passed a Thoughtseize for a foil mythic that is worthless and I've never gotten a chance to play with.
Yep.
Which is absolutely the wrong choice because the Thoughtseize also would have made my deck better. But what are you going to do?
Hey, if it's fun for you, that's what matters, right?
I should stop doing that. I should take the value.
So what other reasons do we have for rare drafting? Are there any other circumstances where you guys would rare draft, aside from money?
No.
It kind of changes the question, but to change the direction of my deck, like...
Okay, because the rares are usually powerful.
Yeah. So it, by our definition, it's no longer rare drafting. It's sort of like taking something that I've never had a chance to play with and then trying to draft around it.
Sure. I think that's still fine.
Yeah. And also for my collection. Like, if I haven't been able to open a copy of a rare or especially a mythic.
Yeah.
And if it's a terrible rare or mythic and there's something for my deck, then I'll pass it and be like, please come back.
It'll
nobody should take this.
Do you know how many Hedron alignments I got last pick?
Oh, tons.
Like,
I know. I got 6 last pick Hedron alignments.
Yeah.
They seem to be like...
Because, of course, you're never going to take it earlier.
Perplexing chimeras.
Those tended to go highly, even though no one wanted to play them.
Weird.
Yeah. But yeah, I get you on the... unfortunately...
Especially later in the format, people are much more likely to table bad rares.
Yeah.
Because they've already got one.
Yeah. Glorious End hasn't gotten that far yet. People are still picking it up when shrug, there's nothing in the pack. So
yeah.
I'm sad about that because I would have liked to see that come back around on the wheel.
Yeah, I'll also take something if I haven't opened it yet And there's nothing above replacement level in the pack for me. Like, if I'm... Again, it does depend on how I'm feeling about it. If I feel like I'm probably going to be able to pick up enough playables, I might end up taking a rare I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So that's at the F&M level. What about if it were a more competitive setting?
In a more competitive setting, I mean, you get this answer from everyone, but if you honestly think that you've got a shot at winning money or prizes at a competitive level, then whatever that card is worth to you is probably not as much as a playable in your deck.
Yeah. Unless it's a foil Tarmogoyf.
That, I think, is the one exception. I would not rare draft something that isn't going in my deck at...
So that's probably, I think all three of us can agree on our level. If it were a foil Tarmogoyf, worth like $700.
Oh, yeah. I'm taking that and saying...
Yes. But anything below that...
Well, also, that's going to be... above replacement level for me, because I'm not going to have as good a shot of winning as the other people at that tournament. So if I open that, that is my prize money.
Yeah, right? Fair enough.
Like that, if that pays for my weekend, then absolutely I'm taking that.
Sure.
If I think I'm that good, then I'm taking the lightning bolt.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is that, I mean, of the three of us, we all, if we are playing at a competitive level, it's going to be for standard or the current set for limited.
Yeah.
It's not going to be for modern or a modern master's
exactly.
draft.
And the value just isn't there.
Yeah,
anyway,
the value is at most, like, I don't know, maybe $75 for like a foil Liliana or something. Like,
I think, it's probably at the top.
Occasionally there might be a masterpiece, not for this set. The masterpieces just aren't worth that much for this set as they have been previously. Previously, though, there have been masterpieces that have been worth, $100, $150, that sort of thing. But
foil Liliana is a good example, though, because that's the kind of rare that pack 3, if you're nowhere near black, you should probably pass that. But at any other time, really improve your deck.
Let's be fair. That foil Liliana is going to fit in any deck I'm drafting anyway, so it's really not going to be a problem.
So yeah, I think if it were like a stand or a limited for the current set, just honestly, the amount of money that you're spending, it's $90 for a limited GP here in Toronto, for example, plus your hotel, plus your travel, plus maybe taking the Friday off, plus your meals. You're probably... Like, you're not going to make that up by opening a foil rare or a foil mythic.
No, probably not. No.
So, I don't know. I feel in those situations it would probably be worth more the experience of just building the best deck that you can and seeing how far you can go.
Yep, I agree. Absolutely.
Now, years ago, online, value drafting, like rare drafting or chase uncommon drafting, was a viable option. I don't know if it is anymore.
For going infinite, you mean?
For going infinite online. Like, just taking anything that had any scrap of value and then trying desperately to, 2-in-1 the draft was a viable way to go infinite. I don't think it is anymore. I think they fixed the entry fees and payouts so that it wasn't, because... We were getting very cheap drafts for a very long time on Magic Online.
Yeah, I know that they've definitely tweaked, and they've also made it the play points, which can only be used for entrance to events as prizes and things like that, which make it much harder to go infinite. Yeah. Even at a very high level of play, it can still be tricky, especially if you don't play that frequently. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take a slight step to the side. It's still very close to what we're talking about. Let's talk about hate drafting in general.
Don't do it.
I don't do it.
No, no one should do it. No one should do it, ever. Unless you're team drafting.
Okay, so let's not look at team drafting. Let's just look at each of us is at our local F&M.
In a regular 8-man queue.
Yes. In a regular 8-man queue. Would you, are there circumstances where you would hate draft?
The only time I have ever hate drafted is if there's stone nothing for me in the pack.
So then you just take the next best thing in the pack.
Yeah, there's a Forsake the Worldly or a Stinging Shot. Well, I've got a flyer, I'll take the Stinging Shot.
Sure.
Seems completely...
Plus, they both cycle, so...
Sure. I'm not going to play either in my red-black deck, but whatever.
How about you?
For me, I'm almost in that same boat. So if there is literally nothing for me in the pack, I'll take the card I think is the best, or the card that I don't currently have, or the card I think is, best against my particular deck that I'll have trouble with.
Do you ever take the card that you think the remainder of the pack will send signals?
I very rarely consider that.
Okay.
Especially for Amonkhet, because the color distribution of the pack is
so wonky.
Really weird.
Yeah.
We for our draft, the reason I ended up going into white, it was not until near the end of pack 1, because I got past a pack that had 4 above average quality cards.
Okay.
And I was like, oh geez, I understand that the color distribution is wrong, because there's no way that there should be 4 very good cards of any one particular color.
Yeah,
in a
you've
pack
got
of
to figure
14
somebody
cards.
else is in white, and there was just a 5th amazing white card.
Right, but there were still 2 white uncommons in that pack.
Okay.
Which is not really supposed to happen.
Sure.
So I was like, I bet you white is super open from this direction, and it was.
Okay.
So I'm just going to head right on in there.
All right.
So I will occasionally take a card if I think it's just unbeatable and there's not much for me in the pack. Let's take Angel of Sanctions, for example, as that is a card that will just win the game on the spot.
So if somebody passes you Angel of Sanctions...
Yes. So let's say some fool decides to do the noble thing like Stepwood and passes it to me if they're not in white. Because that would be hate drafting, wouldn't it?
I'd pass it if I were. No, I would probably draft it simply because we need it for our collection. But that said, let's pretend somebody did pass it.
At that point, it's rare drafting for me, and I would definitely rare draft that because I have a deck that wants it.
Sure. So let's just take those as an example of a card that will probably win you the game if it's played.
Sure.
So if there is, let's say I'm in black. Let's say the same pack has an Archfiend of Ifnir. I will take the Archfiend because that card is very good in this deck that I'm running.
Yeah, they're similar quality cards.
Sure. But let's say it's like a Wander in Death.
Okay.
Which is absolutely a playable card.
Yeah.
But I can also find another black card. And the Angel of Sanctions, if I see it played against me, will just win the game.
Okay.
Unless I happen to have 2 very specific cards in my black deck. Because otherwise they just bring it back and then they exile something else. So what I'm saying basically is that I'm not likely to hate draft. But I can think of situations where I might be tempted to.
Okay.
So I don't know if it came to that, if I actually would take the Angel for any reason other than rare drafting, if I would just hate it out.
Yeah, it's hard to give an example where you wouldn't just also be like, ooh, I want that for my collection.
Right. And I think that's true of a lot, because, the other card that came to mind specifically for hate drafting from this set was Insult to Injury.
Okay,
because that is not something that's worth very much money. But it can also just literally win any red deck the game on the spot. If they have 6 mana and they cast that, there are a few situations where they won't win.
Yeah, that's fair.
But there are situations where they won't win if they have that card. And it is easy enough to play around in that it's a sorcery speed card.
That one is also highly splashable. So
it absolutely is splashable.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the thing, is for Angel of Sanctions, for example, is if we're talking anywhere but, 2/3 of the way through pack 3, I would probably draft it, and the optimistic part of my brain is yes, somebody else will also pass me in Evolving Wilds because people love me, and I can certainly play it.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a chance that I'd splash it.
Well, and the other thing is, at any other time, isn't that a huge signal?
Yes.
To go in? So it's hard to say when we're talking about something that's so bomby.
Yeah.
But what about a green cartouche?
Yeah.
If it happens to get to you.
No. Unless, again, there is something, or unless there is nothing in the pack. So, a card, for me to hate draft a card, it needs to be on the level of Angel of Sanctions or Insult to Injury for me to even start thinking about it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I just don't care. I don't care if they have a green cartouche, because if they want one, they probably already have one.
Okay.
I do not care, because if they end up getting it, and playing it, and drawing it, and I'm playing against them, it's a good card, but I can still win the game.
The math is just not there to make hate drafting better
Absolutely.
than taking
Plus,
a playable.
it might be a bit naive, but I do consider, especially in in-person draft pod, to be cooperative. I want my opponent to my left to know that I'm not in green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you hope that they also pass good cards for you so that everyone has a better, more enjoyable experience.
Exactly. I want to know, or I want to have faith, I suppose, that, in pack 1, I am happy to tell my opponent to the left, I am not in green, please take this Cartouche of Strength to make your deck better, in the hopes that in pack 2 they will go, oh, I opened a Temet and I'm in green-black, please take it, I will instead take this Cartouche of Ambition.
Sure.
And for me, Magic is about enjoying the games you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, don't get me wrong, it's great to win. And when you get up to competitive level, absolutely it's great to win.
Yes.
But I also don't like that feeling when you sit down and the person across from you, because of whatever happened, they were unable to build any sort of viable deck. It's terrible, or they just completely get screwed mana-wise. It's not a fun way to win.
No, you're sitting there going, I can see that you have 9 spells in your hand and have 1 land on the battlefield after mulling to 4.
Yeah.
I feel very sorry for that.
It doesn't feel good. That's why I have a hard time understanding people who, as we've said, our shop is very casual.
So it's friendly.
Friendly.
So it's very
more
easy.
Friendly than casual.
Yeah, it's very easy to tell what people are drafting around you, as signals or just chitter chatter. So it's very difficult for me to even comprehend somebody who might go, oh, well, that person next to me, I know they draft this, so I'm not going to let them have this card, even though it's not of any use to my deck.
I don't think it happens very often.
I would hope not, because that doesn't seem like a very fun way to play.
I think it probably happens a lot more with newer players, because they just don't have the experience to realize how unlikely it is to have any impact on them.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I mean, you hear it not just from us, but you hear it from a lot of the pros. You hear it from Limited Resources.
They're
you hear
very
it from
against hate drafting.
LRR.
LR and LRR.
Yeah. First, you have to, pass the person the card that they're going to actually draft it for their deck. Then they have to decide, yes, it makes the cut and is in my deck. Then they have to be matched with you. Then they have to actually draw the card. So the odds of it
then they have to play it,
yeah.
and it has to be in an advantageous situation for them.
So the odds of it actually impacting you at all are so slim.
And that's the one thing that hurts me when I hear people, and people that I respect too, say, oh, I can't pass you that. That's too good to pass. And when they have no intention of actually playing it, that's like, oh, don't you know you're making your deck worse?
It's different if they say, oh, that's too good for you to pass, so I'm going to read it as a signal and move in.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
Especially in pack 2, where, the person to your right has been cutting off the color so successfully that you are then just stepping in to benefit from it, which I've also done in the past.
Yeah. I mean, that's
intentionally
something.
or otherwise.
But to me, all it seems like you're doing by, cutting cards from opponents, knowing you're not going to play them, is missing out on a chance to make a better deck for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and better decks around the table.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the better that everyone's deck is, the more fun is to be had.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have gone so far once as to force signals through to the next guy in line.
Mm-hmm.
It was it Origins or M15? It was wherever there was Scrapyard Scrounger, and that must have been M15.
Yeah, it wasn't Origin.
Soulblade Djinn, I think, was the blue rare that I had already opened twice and was so stinking sick of blue that I'm just like, I'm passing this.
Okay.
And I took, I don't know, like a red removal spell, I think. And so the guy to my left was like, oh, okay then, and moved into blue and had an amazing blue deck that I probably should have had, but I was just so sick of it.
Yeah.
That I drafted I don't even remember, red-green pile, I think, but it was fun, so whatever.
I also have had the slightly funny, slightly unfortunate situations where you open like a bomb rare and a bomb uncommon in the same color.
Oh, that hurts so much.
It's so often.
Well, the thing is that I think it's kind of funny, because I will just take the bomb rare.
Yeah.
And know that the person to my left is probably going to take the bomb uncommon and just cut them. And I will cut it hard.
And that's kind of what you have to do. That's strategy, right? And I don't feel bad about that because that happens. The other strategy is to not take either.
Yeah, but I don't...
First pack, no way.
Unless there is literally a third bomb in a different color and you want to go that route, I don't think it's worth it.
I've done that. There were... I think it was red things and it was maybe black, whatever. They were like rare, uncommon, both great. I'm going to take this cast out. Because it is also great.
Absolutely. It is a great card.
And it's in a different color, and then the two guys to my left can fight. But if there was not that third card, then I would have absolutely taken just the best card in the pack.
But then again, I also consider that, like, if I'm the person to the left, I go, Step has just passed me a bomb uncommon.
Yep.
And the rare is missing.
Yep.
And then if I don't see any more of that color for a couple of picks, I will assume that you took that and are cutting me.
Uh-huh.
So but on the other hand, if I see someone who's new sitting right to my right, I might just go, they probably have no idea what they've done. So let me just keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
So it really, again, just depends on who it is around.
You know what's funny too? This is an interesting example. We were talking earlier about Neheb, the Worthy.
The black-red.
The Merciless Javelineer.
The black-red uncommon.
And did we all think that the Merciless Javelineer is just better?
Generally speaking, it's more all-purpose than the other one is.
If you open those in a pack, which do you take? Or
Neither.
do you look for something else? Yeah, you look for something else?
I have opened Neheb and passed him.
I have wheeled Neheb. I have gotten Neheb on the wheel and been like, I
don't want him.
I don't really want this.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's splashy, but it's not.
It's got, for me, and I'm the weak link in this because I love me my Minotaurs. Black, red, Minotaurs, baby, all the way. But it's got to be pack one, pick one, and I've got to be certain that I think I can jump in, and there's nothing great in the pack, then I might take him just under consideration and be like, we'll see if any more Minotaurs come across my plate.
Yeah.
But otherwise, unless I already have a boatload of synergistic stuff, he's just going to keep on trucking.
I don't know. I think maybe the thing is just anecdotally speaking, I have had so many drafts where I've drafted a card I'm very excited to play and then never drawn it. So sometimes...
Yeah, even if you play it.
Sometimes one card just doesn't make that big of a difference. Yeah. But, I mean, sometimes it does. It is all variance.
Yeah.
Come to that. So
it's weird because...
So all you can do is just increase the overall quality of your deck. And... You know, sometimes you might draw that bomb rare. Sometimes they might draw their bomb rares. Sometimes nobody draws their bomb rares, and you have to rely on your commons.
I have had so many games, or so many matches, where my opponents have drawn Ronus every game. And I was like,
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
He loves to come out to play.
Against me, it seems like. It's like he's been upgraded to uncommon against me.
That's so frustrating.
Yeah. But also, good card.
Yep.
So,
good card,
very good card.
I mean, we three are fairly similar on this, but then again, I also think that most people who have our level of experience, even my level of experience as the newcomer-ish in the game, tend to agree on these kind of things. Yeah, generally don't rare draft unless the price level exceeds a certain threshold, depending on what level of event you're at, and don't hate draft unless there's literally stone cold nothing else in the pack for you.
Yeah, I think for the most part, but I think it's worth having a little chat about and
absolutely
seeing what other people think.
Especially because, we will admit to rare drafting for collections. Other people might not admit to it.
Yeah, because, there's technically perfect drafting, and then there's collecting the game of Magic,
right?
Yeah,
then there's realistic drafting, which is what actually happens.
Yeah. So, good combo.
Yeah, so hopefully that was some insight to you. Let us know if you have different thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can just throw our voices in with the din of everyone basically saying the same thing.
Yes.
But there's our 2 cents. So, thank you for joining us this week on The Knowledge Pool. If you've liked this podcast, please give us the old 5 stars on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts, because it really helps other people find this podcast. You can also check out our Magic content on YouTube or on the web, and all of the links are in the show notes, as well as our social media. You can find us on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook.com/something or other.
The knowledge pool. Yeah.
Cool. And all this stuff is in the show notes.
It's much easier just to go to the show notes.
Thank you for joining us this week.
Yes, thanks for listening.
And good luck in your next draft.